Kurt, are we good?
I'd like to call the meeting in order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a couple procedures that we have to go through before we have the start of the meeting. Due to the death of his family, Richard will be joining us remotely but through the computer. In order to make sure Richard can hear us and full participation in the meeting, I would like to ask Sally Isley to please call the roll of the board at this time.
Tony?
Here.
Tim?
Here.
Sally? Here. Richard?
Here.
Bob?
Here.
There's one other thing going. I was at the dermatologist today and had what they call their blue light special. And I have to wear my hat now because they say that fluorescent lights can kick off the procedure that I had again. And I'm already burnt enough right now. So that's why I'm wearing my hat. We need a motion to adopt the consent agenda as an order of business.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? Roll call vote, please, Sally.
Do we need to do roll call for
We,
all of
we
that?
do,
Oh,
we do
yeah.
need to do roll call, and Kurt, if it's okay for you to make sure that it's being heard on the TV too, and if it's not, we have to turn it up, so. Yeah, well, we don't have to, but it's recommended just because of the,
Okay.
so that we can tell Richard is participating.
Okay. So, Tony?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Sally, yes. Richard?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We need a motion to approve the following. Approve the minutes of July 15th, 2019 Board of Education meeting.
January?
January 15th, 2019 Board of Education meeting. Approve the financial report for the period of July 1st, 2018 through January 31st, 2019. To approve bills for the period of January 1st, 2019 through January 31st, 2019 in the amount of $3,004,427.55.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this? Roll call, please, Sally.
Tony?
Yes.
And Tim?
Yes.
Sally, yes. Richard?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Okay. Then we are moving on to the legislative update.
Yep, we did have a legislative update yesterday actually, and I can tell you that all the legislators were there, including a representative for Senator Grothman. We talked mostly about the upcoming budget, and one of the things that we inquired about was the possible increase of the revenue limit compared to categorical increase, and depending upon which one we get and what would happen to that low revenue spending that we were able to achieve success in last year with our resolution. And so, I mean, we don't know if you get a revenue increase, does that then take away that low spending increase, or the categorical aid? So we had a long conversation about that. I can tell you that there was really no definitive answer, right, John, to much of that. The one thing that was said was that they don't anticipate going backwards at this point as far as gains that have been made with the low revenue spending. So that's encouraging. We also talked about some special ed funding as well as the new requirements by the Higher Learning Commission for our teachers who teach the dual credit courses. So in the year of 2022, the Higher Learning Commission now has designated that teachers who teach courses which we in the past have called our CAP courses, where students can get high school credit as well as credits for college or post-secondary education, they have to now have a certain degree in the area in which they're teaching, which is going to cause some heartache to most districts. For example, if it's in chemistry, they can't just have a master's in science, they have to have a master's in chemistry. And so one of the things that the LTC president put forward was the fact that there may be some money designated in the budget to help teachers be able to get some of those degrees before the time comes and we're not able to get our students the credits that they have. It also will push us probably to move towards more AP and less dual credits, which is good and bad in many ways. So anyways, that was another long conversation that we had. That was it. Did I
Okay.
miss anything? No.
Thank you, Carrie.
So Carrie, you said that's going to come about in 2023,
2022.
2022?
Yeah, 2022 is when the Higher Learning Commission has designated for that to take place. So we have time now to prepare. The biggest question is, what the cost is going to be and, whether or not you have the staff to be able to go back and get those certifications.
So that's set in stone that it's going to happen?
I think so. I think the Higher Learning Commission tends to have a lot of ability to make that happen, yes. Yes, I think so. Unless you've heard differently, Dan.
Hoping.
I know. So that was really the gist of our conversations.
So just out of curiosity, dual credits versus advanced placement, what was the concern there, or what's the?
Well, the difference is to get college credits through the dual credits. You pass the class with a B or better, you get the college credit, it's transcripted. AP, you take the class, and then it comes down to some endpoint at the end of the year or semester where there's a take it or leave it test that you have to get 3 or better on in order to get the credits, and it's there's a greater success rate to gain credits through the CAP courses than there is through the AP courses.
There's also a better acceptance of the CAP credits. Not all of the state universities accept the AP.
Yeah, there's some of that.
Yeah, there's some of that too. So,
Okay. Thanks.
Any more discussion, questions? Moving on then, finance, building and grounds, John?
Yes, we had a very good day in the bond market today, requesting the board to move the resolution awarding the sale of $10 million general obligation promissory notes. You should know, based on the plan laid out by Lisa Boyson of R.W. Baird at the Committee of the Whole, we improved on that plan today in the market. She had projected an interest rate in there of 3.09% overall. We achieved a 2.7% interest rate increase. So again, we saved another $300,000 off of what she had projected even last week. One thing we did do in the course of that was to change the bond structure a bit so that we are paying off this $10 million faster, which is another reason why we're saving interest. We're still staying with the 95-cent tax impact, but now after 2025, there is a greater cliff. Was about $125,000. Now there's a $200,000 cliff for future borrowing that won't have taxpayer impact. So that will really help us out for 8 or 9 years from now. Again, overall savings from what was projected at the time of the referendum is now up to $3,367,488. Much of that is interest rate savings. A portion of that would be because we improved our bond rating in the past year. And then again, we had another $300,000 savings in the market today just because rates have flattened out and actually slipped down a little bit.
Wow.
So really good news, and this is really the final step for the board in terms of financing our referendum building project in awarding these notes. And after that document is sent forward, there will be closing documents coming that will need Tim and Sally's signature in the next couple weeks, so, but that won't need board action.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve the resolution of the sale of $10 million in general obligation promissory notes.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? No. We had a lengthy discussion on this, so the public knows, on our committee of the whole meeting. This is really, really good news. The interest rates have been stable. And again, I'd like to thank the community for voting in affirmative for the referendum. Also, too, it was a very good time to have a referendum based on interest rates. So we really got a deal, you know. And I was talking to a member of the, was in school at the time we built this high school in '67, and interest rates were low then, too. And he said that one of the reasons why we got the pool when we built the school is because of the interest rates. So I think this is a very good deal for the community in general, and very pleased with John, with the work that he's done. So we need a roll call vote on this, Sally, please?
Tony?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Sally, yes. Richard?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Tim, I think that the community would probably benefit from knowing that, maybe John referenced that, but there was an upgrade in our financial status because of the good financial management of our district. And our financial advisors told us in the committee of the whole that rarely happens. But because this school district has been managed so well financially, they raised our rating, I guess is the proper way to say it, and that was part of, I think, about $500,000 worth of savings. So it just goes to speak to the good work that's being done in managing the finances of our school district.
Yes, it is. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Moving on, we need to consider approval of intercom system proposal. Director of Business Services. John, you want to
Yes.
talk about this?
This time, we'd like to make a recommendation to approve the proposal from O&W Communications of Sheboygan to update our intercom system. This was a portion of our referendum project that is a owner buy, or something we are buying ourselves as opposed to our general contractor doing. O&W's proposal met all of the requirements as well as being the lowest qualified bidder.
So, we need a motion.
So move, make a motion that we go with O&W as we had talked about at the meeting of the whole.
I will second that.
Is there any further discussion on this? One thing I want the community to understand too, that this service will not, will offer opportunities to upgrade over the years to come. So we're not locked in, we're not stationary. So it's like building a smart home. It is an opportunity, and we're looking at the future where we're doing this. So we need a roll call vote, please, Sally?
Tony?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Sally, yes. Richard?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Now, item C, consider approval of asbestos abatement vendor for Parkview and Fairview Elementary Schools.
Another part of our referendum project, which again is an owner buy, is we are responsible for the asbestos abatement of all of our remodeling projects in the school. We had previously bid the high school project, and now at this time we are bidding the Fairview and Parkview project, which will take place starting at different points in time. I believe Parkview will start around spring break time, and Fairview will start about summer vacation time. The low bidder was Dirty Ducks of Madison, who has also been our high school abatement specialist, and they are the lowest qualified bidder, meet all of the requirements of the spec, and are highly endorsed by EMC, our environmental engineering consultant.
So we need a motion.
I move that we approve the one that John is recommending there, Dirty Duck.
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this? And again, this is for our referendum, as part of the referendum for actually reconstructing and building new gymnasiums for our schools. So, roll call vote, please, Sally?
Tony?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Sally, yes. Richard?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Facilities and subcommittees, update, Bob?
Well, we've discussed in the committee of the whole, progress of where we are at with the elementary schools and the planning that's going on with those, and it appears things are becoming finalized, and we will be going out for bids now in the spring. And then work will begin this summer, so that's advancing nicely. If you've been by the big hole in the ground, they're starting to fill the hole up a little bit, so that's exciting to see next to the high school. The work is being done there, and the abatement that occurred here at the high school was done very, very well. Everyone was very satisfied with the work that was done, and the science rooms will begin this summer, so.
Yep, and we will have some work being done during spring break.
Okay.
Extensive work here at the high school and at Parkview. So I do want to announce that the district office will be relocated again, as far as if anyone is, we're going to close everything down again, so if anyone does need to come to the district office, there will be people in the community ed office, again, as we did over Christmas. So, so we will be there, and just to give that heads up. And also just knowing that the parents are continuing to be informed by the principals, and then Jamie is doing a phenomenal job informing too, so our community on the things that need to happen during these times, so thank you.
So also over spring break, there's no hall walking
Right.
and
Right, there will be, yeah, because the whole center of the building will be down, so so we won't be able to walk around, yes. Yep, good, thanks for asking that
Sure.
question, Sally.
And moving on to item, we need to consider the gifts and corresponding budget adjustments. Carrie?
Yep, tonight we have a donation of $2,000 from many donors to be used for the Momentum Show Choir. This money was used to offset the expense of bringing the Wisconsin Singers to Plymouth High School for a clinic and performance. Also a donation of $548.35 from the GIAC Club, Global Education Achievement Club, for transportation to Madison for the International Career Fair. And I would recommend that you accept these gifts and their corresponding budget adjustments.
So moved.
second.
Any discussion on this?
No.
Roll call, please, Sally?
Tony?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes?
Sally, yes. Richard?
Yes.
And Bob?
Yes.
Okay.
Period of public participation, nobody signed up for that. Moving on to board liaison reports, community ed, Sally, please.
Our community ed meeting was canceled because of our lovely winter cold weather. We have not met yet to make that one up. But there's many classes coming up. There's a lot of them, which is awesome. There's a couple new classes. One is called Flavor Revelations with Nuts and Seeds, Roasted Fruits. That's going to be March 11th. This other new class is Tree Grafting. That will be Saturday, March 16th. Other classes we have going is Lifting Littles. That's actually lifting little children. And what's that?
Working out with babies.
Working out with babies. So that's what it is
Yeah, it
exercise
works well
with
for
babies.
Carly Lenz and her new baby and
Okay.
others, and, yeah.
Okay, I did not get that. I
Yeah.
thought it was just going to be teaching you proper how to bend at the knees,
Oh, no,
not at the
no.
back. Okay, so working out with little ones.
Working out with your baby.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. And then artesian sourdough bread, February 21st. Hiking in the kettles. Great. You can snowshoe if we have snow, skis, walk, whatever. That will be this Saturday, February 23rd. Mighty Meats 101. Learn about different cuts of meat. next Monday, the 25th, beginning felting, the February 26th, and then family swims will be March 2nd, 16th, and April 6th here at the high school from 1 to 2:30. There's also wood carving, something to do with your hands during this nice winter weather. And then Take and Bake will be March 6th. Winter Swim Club is for kids ages 7 through 8th grade. And they will be meeting on Mondays through Thursday, starting March 4th through the 21st. Any questions? Okay,
Thank you, Sally.
you're welcome.
We have the foundation for Bob.
Foundation, a few notes. Our first mini grant, I talked about mini grants the last meeting, is $5,000 that we set aside for mini grants, small applications where a teacher has a more immediate need and can't wait that year-long cycle that we have for the large grants. So we've set aside $5,000. A mini grant can be up to $500. And we just awarded our first mini grant. So that's big news for the foundation. We're excited about that. Special ed teacher Sue Forsberg made an application for a program called Best Buddies. It's a training program that she'll go out to help establish a chapter here for children with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So it's a great program. Go online. You can find it at bestbuddies.org. You can learn more about it. But the foundation is really happy that we're helping to support that launch here. In addition to that, 2 new scholarships have been added to the list of scholarships that the foundation will help to disperse this spring. And finally, full grant applications for the teachers out there that have ideas for a larger grant. Those applications are due April 12th. So that's the news from the foundation. All good.
Thank you, Bob. Any questions for Bob? Family Resource, Sarah, was there any report from your family?
No, there was nothing.
Okay. Professional development, Richard, did you have anything to?
Yeah, excuse me, my voice is, I'm struggling with my voice at the moment. We had a meeting last week, and a typical meeting, they will report on what's happening, excuse me, at the elementary, the middle school, excuse me, and the high school level. And
Would you like Dan to, would we defer to Dan?
Yeah, maybe that would be better. I just might.
Dan, would you help him out?
I think what he was going to say is that at the 3 different levels, the last professional development day, at the high school level, they had a lot of teachers that went out. They had kind of a kickoff in the beginning of the day, and they had a lot of teachers that went out and did some interesting things. Just for example, our science group went down to Madison to visit a facility that works on biomass and how that all, looking into the future about how that could be integrated into our school. We have sustainable engineering classes. We have our food science and agriculture center. So there's lots of really interesting work being done, and so they got a chance to visit there. So just as an example, our teachers are going out and visiting the community and local business and industry to kind of find out what's there so that we're teaching things that are relevant. At the middle school and at the elementary schools, just to make it brief, we've been focusing all year on really focused on literacy and mathematics, and that continued. There's some other things around the fringes, but a lot of focus either in the afternoon or in the morning on literacy and mathematics. And but at the elementary schools, they kind of had been mostly working as the entire district together for the school year. This time they were just kind of focused in their own buildings because this was our last PD day, because when we shortened the schedule, we did move one to the end of the year. So they wanted to make sure that they were working towards their building goals and how that relates to their individual goals in those specific areas. So I think, is that pretty close to where you were going to go with it, Richard?
Yes, that sounds great. Good job, Dan. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Richard and John, Dan. Is there any questions of either one of them? Then we need to move on. We need, item number 9 is personnel. We need to consider the approval of the changes of the 2019-2020 support staff handbook.
I'm going to have John review those few changes that we have in the handbook with the support staff.
There were basically 4 changes laid out for the Personnel Committee and as well as the school board at the Committee of the Whole. One consideration is simply to include a paragraph in the workers' compensation insurance area, which deals with how sick days are utilized when workers' comp is not paying the entire amount of unpaid hours or days they're missing because they are on workers' compensation. This is not a change in practice for at least the last 12 years, but is simply there to be more descriptive and less confusing to employees of how they would apply their sick leave in terms of receiving that pay as well as workers' compensation. The second suggested change, I guess, is to delete school nurses from, not the school district, but to delete school nurses from coverage by this plan. They would seem to fit either better under the teacher's employment framework or under their own individual contracts. We'd like to do that beginning July 1st. Holiday working hours is another suggested change. Previously, for the last several years, we've had holidays be considered as a benefit of the employees and not considered during the week for overtime hours. This suggestion would change that. It's been recommended by the employee base for quite a number of years, where those hours would be calculated in their calculation for overtime. So if they exceeded 40 hours in that week where there was a holiday, including their holiday hours, they would receive overtime. And finally, we have a number of workers who are at the top of the pay scale and don't have really anywhere to go, or even above the top of the pay scale. So what this provision would allow is that a worker in that situation at or above the top of the pay range that completes a positive employee evaluation that credits the employee with above and beyond performance rather. A stipend of up to $500 would be paid one time for that school year or in the start of the next school year, and that would be prorated for part-time employees based on a 2,080 working calendar, hour calendar. And that performance would have to be noted as above and beyond in their previous performance review.
Nice job.
So we need a motion.
I move that we approve these changes to the support staff handbook.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? Roll call vote, please, Sally.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tony?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Sally, yes. Richard?
Yes.
And Bob?
Yes.
Support staff update. Carrie?
Yes. This month, we have Gail Holzman, who has been hired as a special education aide at Horizon Elementary School, Lisa Gutchow, who has been hired as a special education aide at Parkview Elementary School, Michelle Charles has been hired as a special education aide at Parkview Elementary School. Richard Seafeld has submitted his retirement as head custodian at Riverview Middle School. Richard has served the district for 31 years. Allie Gilguber has submitted her resignation as a special education aide at Horizon Elementary School. Allie has served the district for 2 years, and Robin Rosenthal has submitted her resignation as a special education aide at Horizon Elementary School, and Robin has served the district for 1 year. That's it.
Thank you, Carrie. Then we're moving over to item number 10, our travel. We need to consider out-of-state travel request. Carrie, would you take this too, please?
Yep. First of all, we have a request from Paul Kurzaniak, teacher at Plymouth High School, to take students to Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, Illinois on May 15th, 2019. This request is in line with board policy. Expenses will be the responsibility of the students and/or their parents through fundraising.
Okay.
Would you like to do one at a time, or?
Why don't we do them both together? Why don't you read the other one?
Okay, and then the second one is to consider the out-of-state travel request from Laura Cable, world language teacher at Plymouth High School, to take students to the We Day Convention in Chicago, Illinois on May 8th, 2019. This request is in line with the board policy, and the expenses will be the responsibility of the students and/or their parents through fundraising.
Now we'll need a motion to consider both of these requests.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this?
Laura's taken the kids down
Yep.
to that for quite a while.
Yep, and I was going to, actually, after if it was approved or not, when we put this on here, Sally, it is something that I think that you had asked in the past, that they come and talk
Yeah.
about it, so we noted it with Laura this year, and I talked to Dr. Rauscher about making sure that after the kids come back from their conference this year, that we have a report on how it went. So, yep,
Thank you.
yep.
Tony? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Tim?
Yes.
Sally? Yes. Richard?
Yes.
And Bob?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, there's nothing on item 11. Item number 12 is the president's report. I have just heard on the news today that we had the first death from the flu this year in Wisconsin, and that death was a 6-year-old child. The CDC is recommending that anybody above the age of 6 months be inoculated for flu. In the schools, this is a good chance for us to help prevent the spread of the flu. The reason why I'm so adamant on the flu is back in 1957, when I was in school, I had caught the Asian flu. In my class, there was like 75% of the children were out of school that time. We had one death in my class. That Asian flu was 10% death ratio. So it's very important that I think now that they have vaccines for this, that either prevent you from getting the flu or prevent children from getting the flu, or if they do get it, it weakens the flu virus so much that it doesn't become deadly to your health. So I really recommend to all people, everyone from 6 months and older, to have flu inoculations. So that's the end of the president report.
Okay.
So now we need the superintendent's report.
Okay. We have a lot of really wonderful things that have happened over the last month. First of all, we have sports and activities that have qualified for state. Our dance team qualified for state and finished 5th. Our bowling team qualified for state. We have 2 wrestlers who are moving on to state, Devin Gore and Josh Kroll. In swimming, we have 8 individuals: Kristen Piper, Dawson Smith, Derek Hollick, Jack Steinert, Keegan Gaffney, and Jack Gumney. That's amazing. The musical begins on Thursday, February 28th, and this year they are performing The Music Man. I think it's going to be amazing, so make sure you get your tickets. Our basketball team begins their WIAA playoffs this week, and next the boys will play home here on Friday, March 1st. Our forensics team won the Kokana tournament this past weekend. The Plymouth High School Future Business Leaders of America chapter took second at the Region 6 Leadership Conference at Waupun High School on February 2nd and qualified 38 for state competition in 19 different events. Our Plymouth High School sent 9 students to participate in the East Central Conference Honors Choir on January 26. Representing Plymouth High School were Jordan Anderson, Anna Heyer, Rosalind Johnson, Ethan Joseph, Bennett Josephs, Ethan Lilliquist, Emily Porchi, I always have a hard time with that one, Ann Solachek, and Andrew Van Norwick. And we also had 2 students who competed in a Automotive's 2019 Top Tech Challenge, and it was Tony Lensmeyer and Pat McCready. They won 2nd place, and each one of the students received a $7,500 scholarship. And Mr. Biller was with them during their competition. So that's pretty amazing in automotives, isn't it? I mean, that's really cool.
We
And,
also have about a $2,000 set of tools,
Right.
Snap-on tools that get to stay here at the.
yeah,
building.
a nice kit of Snap-on tools for the school district. And I don't know if they'll be happy for me saying this, but we missed first by 1 point. Yeah, I know.
And they were from Illinois.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I want to just do a shout out here to Mike Briggs. Recently, Mike Briggs was honored. Mike Briggs is a longtime teacher in the Plymouth School District. He works in our technology department. He was a math teacher for many years. And he was honored with the Wisconsin Athletic Service Award from the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association for his 4 decades of dedication to the Panther athletics, and more specifically with the wrestling program. So congratulations to Mike. And I also do want to remind everyone about our plan to address the 5 days missed due to inclement weather. First of all, the 2 of the days were already built into the calendar. One is the day before Memorial Day. The other one was built in with the minutes that we already had remaining. 3 minutes are also being added to the start of the day for middle and high school, and the end of the day. We will be adding 3 minutes, and that already started this week, Monday. And also, the last day of school will now be June 6th rather than June 4th, and Plymouth High School graduation is still scheduled for June 2nd. So, hoping no more snow days, no more inclement weather days, hoping this is the final announcement that we'll have to make on that front. And upcoming events, again, the musical will be presented from February 28th through March 2nd. March 11th is the Committee of the Whole meeting at 5 p.m. in the boardroom. March 19th is the Board of Education meeting at 7 p.m. Spring break is March 25th through the 29th. And there will be a couple committee meetings in between, but they haven't been scheduled yet. So that's all that I have, President.
Well, thank you, Carrie. It's amazing how well they can predict the weather now today,
Oh.
isn't it?
Yes.
So, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Tony?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Sally, yes. Richard?
Yes.
And Bob?
Yes.
I like Bob.
I'm waiting for somebody to say no.
I don't know what to do with